For example, those things that women get, implants, it's not to look like you have a bigger chest per se, but larger breasts. Can I say breasts? Am I canceled yet again? Coach Greg, in today's video, what is the most important muscles to train to look sexy? And we're doing it for the ladies. And no, I'm not doing it based on my own accord. I'm going to be going over Mike Israetel's video along with his girlfriend, and we're going to see what is his opinion and what is my opinion. Does it differ? And I've already watched the video, and I agree with perhaps one or two things that he said, and the rest, not going to agree with.
Ladies, you tell people that you train for all sorts of reasons. Health, strength.
And so of all the reasons that people are training, I would say for men and women, aesthetics is number one. We can all kid ourselves, and the only reason we're doing it is for health. It's for me. It's for de-stressing. But really, the reality is the majority of people doing it for aesthetics, to look good. And is there anything wrong with that? No, of course not. And so I realize that. And when I do my coaching plans, I realize that people want to look good. And so when I make training plans, coaching plans, I know they need to look good. Obviously, it's important to be healthy. But most people, I do believe they're training for their appearance.
Train to become sexier versions.
And so Mike Israetel puts it as this. Let's be honest, you're training to look sexier. And is there anything wrong with that? No, I don't think so. I agree with Mike. There's nothing wrong with saying a woman is training to look sexy. You might think, oh, you're a misogynist for saying that. No, we're not. We're just speaking of the elephant in the room. Why is it bad to want to look sexy? There's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want, that is your prerogative. And so if that is the case, what exactly should you train and what should you focus on? And I'm certain if you have any brain whatsoever, there's two main muscles you need to train. The left gluteus and the right gluteus. That's right, two muscles, the left bum and the right. Now we can break down to the gluteus maximus, medius, and minimus, but it's the bum. That's number one. And let's see if Mike agrees with Coach Greg.
This is my wife.
And so Mike Israetel is introducing his wife, Dr. Crystal. And so in case people start picking on him, he's got his wife to defend him. Remember, as soon as you talk about women's bodies, women, they come out in spades. How dare you? Speaking about what we want to look like. How dare you? Well, he's brought his wife to defend him to make sure that people know, hey, we're just talking about what's true. We're just bringing up topics. Please don't cancel us.
Number one, glutes, for two reasons.
And number one, the glutes for two reasons, the left glute and the right.
Which you see bikini girls training. Monday,
Booty.
Tuesday,
Booty.
Wednesday.
Booty.
And so when I say bikini contest, it's all about the glutes, was I wrong? Even Mike Israetel and his wife, Crystal, both doctors, they both agree. And it's perhaps for social reasons as well as biological reasons, but you all know it. It's all about the glutes. What are you training as a bikini girl? Monday glutes, Tuesday glutes, Wednesday glutes. It's all glutes.
Reason number two, the three-dimensionlessness of the female buttocks is a target.
And so there you have it. The glutes is a target. That's a biological thing. It's why it's so important. It's a target. Remember, I'm paraphrasing what Mike said, and so don't get mad at Coach Greg. We're just spitting facts.
Number two, quads. Next, the hamstring.
And so number 2 and 3 says it's the quads followed by the hamstrings and quads. It's important because you can't just have glutes and have nothing after that. You need a supporting role. And the hamstrings in particular, when you're moving the glutes, the hamstrings are moving in unison. If you just see the glutes and no hamstrings whatsoever, it kind of ruins it, it detracts it. And so if all you have is butt implants or injections, fillers, and so on, without actually training your legs, it's not going to be the same thing. And so in Mike's opinion, as well as mine, I do believe the legs in general, the hamstrings and quads, are going to be in second place. But next up, I'm not going to agree with him.
Calves, my rank 4. Why? You put a girl in some heels, she's conquering the world.
Next up, he says the calves are the next most important muscle of the body. And so clearly in Mike's mind, to be sexy, it's all about the lower body. The calves, to me, if you got them, good. If you don't, also good. And so let's examine women's bikini competitions, which is the epitome of having a sexy body. You going to disagree with me? And so the women are standing there in their thongs on stage, turned to the rear, and are you all examining their calves? Well, at the Arnold Classic, I never heard one mention of any of the girls' calves. They compared all the ladies. I heard about their glutes, and their glutes had no mention of their calves. Oh, do you see how much better this girl's calves are than her calves? They didn't mention it. And so I don't think it's extremely important to have very big calf muscles in order to look sexy. And so what would I place next? Definitely the stomach, the abs. Having a flat stomach, perhaps slightly visible abdominals. You don't have to have a clearly defined, etched out six-pack with veins, vascularity going through. Of course not. But having a small stomach, to me, that is very sexy. What does it do? It allows you to have more curves. Think of it. A smaller waist is going to make your hips look bigger, more curves on your glutes, going to make your shoulders look bigger. And so by having a smaller waist, it makes everything more sexy. Mike, on the other hand, I do believe he had it in last place, as in, it doesn't matter, it's useless.
I've never seen, and some girls get in their heads like, my calves are too big. I've never seen a woman with calves that are too big.
If it's out of proportion and it's far too big, it detracts from the rest of the body. You're looking at the girl, you see massive calves, perhaps as big as their quads, and it's just not sexy. There's nothing inherently sexy about a girl with bigger calves than, for example, Irv's Kalisensky.
When a girl's got like dope glutes, quads, hams, a little stick-thin lower legs, something's missing.
And yet they can place at the top level in bikini at the Olympia and Arnold Classic stage. And so if you have very small calves, don't worry, you're still going to look sexy.
You don't even train your calves that are fucking big.
You tell me not to.
That's because you're Asian and they're just huge anyway.
And so if her calves can't be too big and it's important to look sexy, then why does Mike tell her not to bother training her calves? If it can't be too big and big calves are sexy, then why not train your calves? You're trying to look sexy. Does that not make sense?
Rank 5, the back.
Number 5, the back. Yet in bikini competitions, you are covering the entirety of your back with your hair extensions, hair filler, whatever. And so if it's that important to have it sexy, why are we not judging that? One of the higher ranking muscles to be sexy, the back, we're not even judging that. Isn't that strange? But what about the back? The back has a lot of muscles. To me personally, some are more important than others. And so let us see which are important and which are not. And so for me personally, what's sexy is a lean looking back so that I can see a little bit of muscle. It doesn't have to be too lean. We're not talking about trying to get single digit body fat here, but a little bit of definition. But one muscle I do not like, remember, this is my opinion. If you think it's sexy, then that's on you, is the traps. When I compare being sexy as a woman, I consider it to be the opposite of a man. If you look masculine, that to me is not sexy. Think of it. Women are predominantly more feminine, men predominantly more masculine. And so if you have more masculine traits and features, that to me does not make you as sexy. Now, if you like masculine looking women, then that is perfectly okay. Perhaps you are more feminine. Opposites often attract. The masculine attracts to feminine, feminine attracts to masculine. And so if you're a more feminine man, perhaps you like bigger traps, more masculine looking woman.
Gently tilt your head to the side. Gently have my arm around your waist. Sink my teeth directly into your fucking trap.
And so for Mike, it's all about the traps. He wants to sink his teeth into them, full stop. That's all he wants. For me, I see large traps and I think, why do you have large traps? Can we not have those? They're not sexy. And so the rest of the back, below the traps, although I consider the traps part of the back, that's okay. Not too big, but certainly if you train your back, you see some definition. To me, very, very sexy. But the traps, something I'd prefer that if you avoid.
If your boy gets grossed out by big traps, he's a child, and what you're doing is technically illegal.
And so apparently Mike thinks that if a man doesn't like big traps and somehow he's a boy, there's something wrong with him in that regards. I got to disagree, Mike. Perfectly okay for you, Mike, to like big traps, but I'm going to say and go out on a limb that most men, most manly men even, do not like big traps on a woman. Ladies, if you're watching this, please add in the comment section. Do you believe that the traps is an important muscle to focus on in order to look sexy for men? The traps, these muscles. If a woman's walking around looking like this, is that more sexy than have to have smaller traps? That is the question.
Delts are cool by themselves, but what they also do is does expand the width of your upper body.
And so the delts, I have mixed feelings about this. On the one hand, he's 100% correct. Wider delts makes you have a smaller waist, but wider delts also makes you look like a man. Men have cap delts, wide, broad shoulders. It's very masculine. And when looking at the bikini competitors, for example, at the Ireland Classic, even Tyler Mannion himself said, she needs to downsize her delts a little bit. And so remember, women's bikini, that is a very sexy type of competition. And if they're telling the women to downsize their delts, then perhaps having too large a delts is not good. And so yeah, a little bit of delts is okay. But if you continue to train your delts too much, eventually it's going to be more masculine, not going to be as sexy.
Chest. It's 8th.
Next up, the chest. I'm going to say you don't need a chest. The last I checked, most men are not checking out your pecs, the striations, the development up here. Is your upper chest oozing with muscularity? But yeah, they're probably going to be looking at your chest, but not for the muscle itself, for something else. For example, those things that women get, implants. It's not to look like you have a bigger chest per se, but larger breasts. Can I say breasts? Am I canceled yet again? And so when men comment on a woman's chest, it's this part and not the muscles that they're talking about. Rare have I ever spoken to a man and said, you know what is so hot about that girl? Her chest muscles. It's not very often. Will they say certain derogatory terms that I'm not going to say right now because, yeah, you guys will hate it, but this is how every single man I've ever met speaks. Men do not say her breasts. It's not how we talk. Talk more like Mike Israetel.
When I'm checking out your titties.
But because I don't want this to get demonetized, I'm not going to say it.
You know what I'm saying? Because like a real woman has a fucking muscular chest.
Mike says a real woman has a very muscular chest. No, a real man has a very muscular chest. That is very masculine. Women are more inherently feminine. Most men, 90%, looking for a feminine woman. And so yes, of course, many men are going to be looking for a woman with a thick and muscular chest. It's of a smaller percentage than those not looking for that. Remember, we're talking about how to look sexy for most people. There are going to be small segments of the population that love everything. There's going to be people that say, I love the more meat, the better. 600 pounds, that is my minimum. The heavier, the better. It's a small segment, but they think that the bigger that woman, the more sexy she is.
Number 9, second to last. Arms.
And so me and Mike are on the same page here. We both think women, you don't need arms. You don't ever need to train your biceps, your triceps. It's simply not needed. You're indirectly going to get so much work, you're not even going to need to bother. And so you could have better use of your time training something else aside from your arms. And remember, this is just to look sexy. I'm not saying you can't train your arms to look powerful and strong and perhaps have a bigger bicep curl than your best friend. Nothing wrong with that. If you're into strongman and powerlifting and so on, obviously you're going to train these muscles. But if you just want to look sexy, it's not needed. Now me, Coach Greg, I am slightly biased. I've been around bodybuilding since I was a kid, and so I can in fact appreciate a girl with larger arms. But that is me. Do I think it's needed to look sexy? Absolutely not. And so if I were to date someone, she had no arm development whatsoever, it wouldn't bother me. But if she did in fact have larger arms, I would also still be attracted to that. It's not a deal breaker. It doesn't matter to me, but you don't need big arms to look sexy.
I think it's not necessarily what they are building, but it's also what they don't want to have is like the wavy,
the hanging tricep.
Yeah.
And I believe she's making a great point. Women think that if they're training their arms, somehow that fat on the back of their triceps is going to get smaller. It's not. That's fat. And so why not just do cardio? Burn off the body fat. Your arm will get smaller and inherently probably going to look more sexy.
You're like a party, you're hanging out, you're like, oh my God, feel my bicep. And that's a good way to get men to touch you.
Very good point. If you have bigger arms, guys are going to say, oh, I bet you beat me in an arm wrestle. Can I grab your arm? Can I feel your arm? Wow, arm. Not the kind of compliment that most women want to get. They don't really like getting complimented on looking masculine. Some do. I'm just telling you what the most don't want to hear.
Lastly, and leastly, abs. Nobody gives a shit about abs.
I 100% disagree. Now, I perfectly accept his reasoning. You don't need abs. That's fine. I like abs, and I think many men do. Not shredded abs, but a very flat stomach of which you could perhaps see the outline of the abs a little bit. You know, once body fat levels drop below 25%, for me, somewhere between 18 and 22% body fat, that is probably the sexiest a woman could get in terms of her body fat. It's not too low that she doesn't still have her curves, and it's not too high that you can still see those muscles. And so Abs, a flat stomach in women's bikini. When they're on a stage, judged being sexy, they all have abs. All of them are sexy. And so to me, abs, very important. Not to have shredded abs, but to have somewhat abs visible, maybe a little bit.
Out of all the guys that'll ever look at any part of your body to determine if you are that girl, its abs may not be on that list.
And in my opinion, many men say, wow, did you see her stomach? See that stomach on her at the beach? Did you see the abs on that girl? Guys like abs way, way more than pec muscles. Are you kidding? There's never been a guy that I've ever talked to in my life that said, oh, her chest triceps, her pecs turn me on. Never. Abs all the friggin' time. And so if you want to hear the truth, am I lying? Do you think I'm going to lie to you? Girls, sorry, perhaps I'm telling you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. You want to hear abs don't matter. You can have a belly. Don't worry about it. Truth is, nope, guys like abs.
Fuck six pack was like fucking rock hard. Now it's just like, yeah.
And no, not rock hard. We don't need rock hard abs, but a flat stomach. If you're on top and you can see some abs, a little bit, the outline of it, that's hot, it's sexy. When a girl's standing, getting out of the pool, and you can see the flat stomach with a little bit of abs popping through, very, very hot.
I can't remember a time when a guy had ever made comments about like my lack of abs.
Well, obviously, imagine a man being so insensitive, you're dating a girl and him saying to his woman, you know what, I'm not attracted to you because of your lack of ab development. They're not going to say that. When you're with someone, you compliment them on what you like about them. You don't sit there and pick apart what you don't like. You compliment the good and you ignore the bad. That's what people do. When I'm with a woman, she's going to say, I like the size of you. She's not talking about my height. Think about it. I'm 5'6". And so they focus on the good and they ignore the bad. They don't say, you know what? I just wish you were taller. If only you were 5'9", if you only were 6 feet tall. Because you know what all women want. They want 7 figures, 7 inches, and a 7,000 square foot mansion. You thought it was 6 figures, 6 feet tall, and 6 inches? Think again.
Arms are going to get too jacked. You should stop training your upper body.
And so here's the thing. There's going to be someone for everyone. And so if you're a jacked up girl, you have huge biceps and crazy abs and traps, date someone that appreciates that. There's someone there for you, no matter what you look like. If you're a 500-pound woman, you're going to find someone that's attracted to a 500-pound woman. Have an abundance mindset rather than a scarcity mindset. And so rather than changing everything about you to meet the demands of what that one person is that you like, stop doing that and go for someone else. Makes sense.
And the most important thing is that you feel your own swag. If you feel beautiful, even just on occasion, man, that's what's really important.
And so Mike ends the video with a great point. Listen, it's not just all about the body. Perhaps it is at the start when you first meet a woman, when you first meet a man. It's all about that sexual attraction to that person. Do you vibe with that person? Are they hot? Are you physically attracted to them? I think that is of paramount importance. You need to be very attracted to that person. But as the weeks, months, years go by, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You need to be attracted to them emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And so men, what they're looking for in general is a feminine woman, somebody who's very nice, somebody who makes their lives more calm, more tranquil, better, not someone who's going to fight with them all the time and be aggressive and be combative with them all the time. They want to come home and relax and have a great life with their partner. And so if you find that person, that feminine person that matches up with your masculine, that is what you're wanting in the long term. Don't forget, we have several harder than last time supplements. For example, if you're trying to get harder than last time, we literally have this. It's in pill form. We also have GO2 Max for enhanced cardio, can help you both in the bedroom and in the gym and at the cardio sessions, as well as Ecti Builder and Turk Builder. We got creatine, we got pre-workouts, pre-work pump, stims, everything. Head over to my website. Don't forget code Greg, 15% off. And of course, you know, the cookbooks, the Circle Diet book, the training book, you can get all those on my website as well. If you have no money, fine, no problem. Head over to my website, you get a free diet and training program. It's close to 50 pages in length. Could have sold it for $100. It's free. Also, become one of the 300,000 plus newsletter subscribers. Head over to my website, code Greg, 15% off. And until next time, I am out.